Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. To sing the national anthem, we have Joseph Jamaralin. Joseph is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? URP!
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. Please be seated. Members of the class of 2016, family, friends, and members of the ENV community, it is my high honor to welcome you to the College of Environmental Design commencement exercises for the class of 2016. Let us begin with a roll call of the ENV programs. Is the Department of Architecture, including the Master of Interior Architecture, here tonight? Thank you. Is the Department of Art here tonight? Thank you. Is the Department of Landscape Architecture here tonight? Is the Department of Urban and Regional Planning here tonight? Is the Lyell Center for Regenerative Studies here tonight? Thank you. President Coley, I am happy to report to you that all of the ENV programs are accounted for and ready for commencement. Commencement Day is an occasion for looking back at the past and peering out to the future. For a university, it can be easier to look at the past than to forecast the future. But one of the main roles of a university is to be a repository, a sanctuary, a storehouse that preserves and transmits the culture, the values, the skills, and techniques of the past to future generations. It can be more difficult for a university to turn in the other direction and predict or serve the future. A few years ago, who would have predicted a world with driverless cars? A world in which you could carry a computer with telephone and television capability in your pocket or in your purse. A world in which the United States is a next exporter of petroleum. Or a world in which Donald Trump would be a major party nominee for President of the United States. A university like people in general, may tend to be very immersed in the present and may assume that the future will largely consist of a continuation of the present. It was Henry Ford who was reported to have said, quote, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." President Coley, there probably are one or two colleges at Cal Poly Pomona which would be very interested in designing faster horses. But E&V is not one of them. I bring up Henry Ford's comment on people's preferences as an example of the importance of asking the right question. If Henry Ford's designers had focused on faster horses, they might not have thought about automobiles. Or if designers didn't ask the right questions, there might not have been thought about trains or buses or airplanes. This is an especially important lesson for future graphic designers, future architects, future landscape architects, future urban planners, and other professionals and practitioners who are about to enter the workforce or proceed to graduate school. If you want to be part of the future, if you want to shape the future, use what you've learned here at Cal Poly Pomona and be sure to ask yourself whether you're asking the right question. President Coley, I am proud to present to you 455 undergraduates and graduate students from the College of Environmental Design who are ready to ask whether they are asking the right question. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the distinguished members of the Platform Party. I ask that each of them stand as I read their names, but audience, please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. First, the Chief Information Officer for the University, Mr. John McGuthrie. Mr. Andy Wilcox, Interim Chair of the Department of Landscape Architecture, our Mace Bearer this year, and this year's Outstanding Faculty Advisor for the college. Dr. Axel Pritchard Schmitzberger from the Academic Senate, our E&V representative at the Academic Senate. Axel just told me 15 minutes ago that I'm no longer supposed to say Pritchard, so it's Dr. Axel Schmitzberger. The next person I'm going to introduce is someone who actually graduated from E&V in 1974. Raymond Cheng, now today in 2016, our Distinguished Alumnus of the Year. He was a member of the graduating class in architecture in 1974, but was so sick on graduation day he could barely walk across the stage, and he doesn't have any photos from his graduation, so we decided to invite him to walk in our procession today. But we're honored that he is our Distinguished Alumnus of the Year. Next, our Associate Dean, Dr. Mary Yu Danico. Next, our Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Alva. Next, our valedictorian and outstanding student McPhee awardee, William Wirtz. Next, our senior class representative, Nicole Nguyen. And last but not least, the President of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona, Dr. Soraya M. Coley. Thank you all very much. Let's give them a round of applause. Please be seated. Now, I'd like to introduce a few special guests who are here with us tonight. First of all, my wife, who makes sure that I wake up early in the morning and that I finish everything I'm supposed to do for the faculty and students before I go to bed. My wife, Lori Dowling. And the wife of our distinguished alumnus, Tina Cheng. Tina, thank you for being here with us. Now, I'd like to call upon President Coley for her welcome and introductory remarks. President Coley.
Thank you, Dean Wu. Hello, class of 2016. On behalf of our outstanding faculty and staff, I'm indeed honored to stand before you to applaud your accomplishments and relay our pride in you. Getting to this milestone was not easy, but you persisted, and here you are today. I am sure you would acknowledge that you did not reach this milestone on your own. Graduates, please take a moment to acknowledge those individuals here today who supported you on this journey. Please give them a round of applause. There are other supporters whose names you may not know, such as our alumni who've invested in future students through scholarships and gifts. We hope that you too will one day decide to want to pay it forward. As you move into the next phase of your life's journey, let me share several essential lessons I've learned. The first is to hold high expectations for yourself. As humans, we respond to expectations. If you have low expectations, you will behave in ways that don't matter. Set the bar high and exercise the discipline needed to achieve success. The second is take action. Don't let a fear of failure inhibit you. Unless actions are taken in the direction of your expectations, you will not be successful. The third is persistence. Success isn't always easy or guaranteed. Know that with every failure, there's a lesson. Learn from it and move forward. The fourth is maintaining options. Achieving a degree opens up possibilities. Look for opportunities to further your growth and adapt to the changes that will occur during your lifetime. Finally, discover your purpose. Why are you here? Your talents and gifts are still developing. Be open to new experiences and pursue areas that align with your curiosity and passion. Some of you may already know or have a clear path toward that understanding. For others, it may take longer. But recognize that you are always in the act of creating and choosing. Seek to discover and let unfold the greatness that lies within each of you. Be bold in your pursuit. Strive to be your best and authentic self. In closing, I'd like to extract passages from a piece written by Dennis Kimbrough. May you develop a burning desire that is required of all achievement. May you stand up for the rights of others against the undesirable influence and threats of enemies. May you save your money so that you can pay your way in this world and yet be generous to those in need. May you forgive and forget those that may have harmed you. May you accept full responsibilities for the successes as well as the failures in your life. May you know that the greatest challenge is understanding. The greatest mistake is conformity. The greatest strength is faith. The greatest weakness is pride. The greatest day is today. The greatest word is thanks. The greatest among us is whoever serves. The greatest message is hope. And the greatest of these is love and empathy. Congratulations, class of 2016.
Thank you, President Coley. Now, I would like to introduce the senior class representative from the College of Environmental Design, Nicole Nguyen, who will present the senior class gift to President Coley.
President Coley, Dean Wu, member of the stage party, distinguished guests, and fellow members of the class of 2016. Every year, the graduating class leaves behind something for the campus community, a gift for the future of generations of Boncos. We want to leave the university better than it was when we first got here. This tradition succeeds every year because of another tradition at Cal Poly Pomona, philanthropy. The senior class gift is entirely funded by donations from graduating seniors. We believe in Cal Poly Pomona, and we want to invest the futures of our university. This year, the senior class is adding new printing stations to the campus to keep students better connected. Fellow donors, thank you for your generous spirit. President Coley, I am honored to present this gift from the class of 2016.
Thank you, Nicole, and also members of the class of 2016. This indeed is something that future generations will certainly enjoy and need, and so we really appreciate your contribution.
Thank you. At this time, I am pleased to have the privilege of presenting the Julian A. McPhee Honor Award for Student Excellence, an award which the university has given since 2002. Julian McPhee was the founding president of both Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. He provided more than 35 years of dedicated service to the citizens of California. Because of Dr. McPhee's visionary leadership and astute negotiating skills, Californians can point with pride to two of the nation's finest universities, founded on the educational principle embodied in the motto, "Learn by doing." This special award, named after Dr. McPhee, was generously funded by an anonymous donor who was a colleague of Julian McPhee. The award honors a current graduating senior who exhibits excellence in his or her academic endeavors. It is now my pleasure to present the Julian A. McPhee Award to the outstanding scholar from the College of Environmental Design. This year's honoree is William Wirtz, a student from the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. William, please come up here and join me at the podium. William Wirtz distinguished himself while completing his Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning by being a leader and mentor in and outside of the classroom. He also gained, at the same time that he was studying urban and regional planning, a minor in Geographic Information Systems, or GIS. William's outstanding GPA only partly reflects his leadership qualities and contribution. Coming to Cal Poly Pomona from U.S. Army service, his maturity, leadership, and concern for the common good were immediately obvious. His dedication is reflected in his completing his degree while raising a family and commuting a long distance from home to campus. He was a consistently thoughtful and articulate class participant. His friendly and respectful relationship with all of his peers bodes well for an outstanding planning career. William's senior research project, entitled Mansionization and the Compromise of Neighborhood Integrity, used GIS, design analysis, and policy development to address this critical public policy issue. President Coley, we're glad you're able to join us at the podium. Now, the instructions are exactly right. The medallion is right here, and I'm supposed to give this to the president. And President Coley, you'll also want to give him this as well. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. We'll put that here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Let's get that on right. Good evening, President Coley, Dean Wu, department chairs, faculty, honored family and guests, and the College of Environmental Design class of 2016. It is my honor to speak to you this evening as the Julian A. McPhee Scholar for the College of Environmental Design. Thank you for this privilege. I'd like to take this opportunity to impart a favorite quote of mine to the graduating class of 2016. This is a fragment of President John F. Kennedy's inauguration speech delivered on January 20th, 1961. As a U.S. Army veteran, it has been a part of my life before my time in my service to our country. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. I want to suggest that we alter this slightly given our individual majors. Ask not what you can do for your environment. Ask not what your environment can do for you. Ask what you can do for your environment. Let us go forth from this day forward and provide meaningful improvements to our collective environments. Together, we will make a world of difference for the current generations and for generations to come. Thank you and congratulations once again to the Cal Poly Pomona College of Environmental Design class of 2016. Go URP.
Thank you, William. Well said. Each year at commencement, I have the privilege of recognizing individuals from the college community who have excelled during their academic careers. An award is given to a graduating student from each department who is recognized for excellence in academic performance, design capability, and contributions to the life of the department and the college. All have distinguished themselves as members of our environmental design community. As I read the name of each recipient, I ask that you hold your applause until they all have joined me up here on the stage. So, will the following students please step forward? From Architecture, Manuel Zemeño. Please hold your applause. From Art, Tyler Stewart. Yeah, please hold the noise, okay? From Landscape Architecture, Ivan Velasquez. From the Lyle Center for Regenerative Studies, Elliot Popple. And from the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Karina Macias. First, let me introduce from the Department of Architecture, Manuel Zemeño. Manuel Zemeño is an individual with an outstanding academic record reflecting his multiple talents, intelligence, and commitment to architecture. Manny participated in the department's exchange program at the National Taiwan University of Science and Technology, representing Cal Poly Pomona in the Julius Schulman Emerging Talent Award competition of 2016, and was awarded the Colin Lewis Hoteling Scholarship and an NEWH Scholarship. As president of Tau Sigma Delta Architecture Honor Society, Manny displayed exemplary leadership and raised the level of professionalism of the chapter. Undoubtedly, Manny will continue to excel and attain professional recognition, which in turn will honor the architecture program here at Cal Poly Pomona. So let's recognize Manny Zemeño. Manny, congratulations. I think there's a photograph here. Thank you. Congratulations. Next, from the Department of Art, I'd like to recognize Tyler Stewart. Tyler Stewart possesses the soul of a graphic designer. He is a visual problem solver with a willingness to learn and an enthusiasm for any project he takes on. He has worked as a designer for the Kellogg Gallery and for ASI Marketing, Design, and Public Relations. This year, he took an active role in organizing Polychroma, the annual art show. He has the drive and the skills that put him at the top of his class. Now that Tyler is entering the workforce, the art department faculty is confident that he will be successful in any endeavor he pursues in the field. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Stewart. Tyler, congratulations. Next, from the Department of Landscape Architecture, we are honoring Ivan Velasquez. The Department of Landscape Architecture at Cal Poly Pomona is pleased to recognize Ivan Velasquez as the 2016 recipient of the Dean's Outstanding Senior Award. His achievements as an undergraduate student in the Department of Landscape Architecture include a unique ability to apply a range of design strategies to produce creative solutions. His design activity has engaged a variety of contexts, including urban, suburban, and rural, and in every instance, he has demonstrated an ability to express concepts through effective graphic techniques. He consistently produces innovative and articulate results in his courses, especially in studio design and related subjects, where he is a source of leadership in collaborative endeavors. Ivan Velasquez is an explorer whose pathway through design continues to render environmentally thoughtful and creative results. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivan Velasquez. Ivan, congratulations. Let's take a picture. Thank you. Congratulations. Next, from the Lyle Center for Regenerative Studies, we're honoring graduate student Elliot Popple. The faculty of the Lyle Center are pleased to recommend Mr. Elliot Popple for the Outstanding Student Award. Since his enrollment in the Master of Science program, Elliot has demonstrated academic excellence as well as substantial contributions to the life of the university. His academic work in our program has been outstanding. In 2015, he was awarded second place in a national competition at the Esri Conference for modeling cougar corridors in the Owens Valley. And his study of Olympia oyster regeneration along the California coast is an excellent analysis. But Elliot's contributions to the life of the university are even more noteworthy. As Secretary of Sustainability for ASI, Elliot's leadership has continued the legacy of the Lyle Center community's impact on environmental practices throughout the university. So on behalf of Cal Poly Pomona and the college, let's offer congratulations to Elliot Popple. Thank you. Elegant bow tie. Next, from the Department of Urban and Regional Planning, we're honoring Karina Macias. Karina Macias is the outstanding student in the Department of Urban and Regional Planning. She specialized in transportation planning, focusing on planning strategies that advance active transportation modes, such as walking and bicycling. In recognition of her research potential, she was selected as a 2016 Transportation Research Board Minority Fellow. Karina presented her research paper at the International Conference in Washington, D.C., and has received acceptance for publication. Karina's thesis, entitled Alternative Methods to Calculate Pedestrian Catchment Areas for Public Transit, broke new ground in applying geographic information systems techniques to delineate pedestrian catchment areas reflecting the conditions of pedestrian-oriented facilities. While in the program, she landed a full-time job at the City of Los Angeles Department of Transportation, and now is putting her education to work supporting the multimodal transportation revolution. We probably needed Karina's help planning the traffic outside on the way coming here today. But ladies and gentlemen, join with me in welcoming Karina Macias. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. Now, I'd like to ask Assistant Professor Courtney Knapp to join me here at the podium. Each year, an award is given recognizing an outstanding faculty member. This year, I am pleased to honor Courtney Knapp as the recipient of the 2016 Dean's Award for Outstanding Faculty. Assistant Professor Courtney Knapp, AICP, has made a profound impact on the Department of Urban and Regional Planning and the communities which it serves. She's an effective and popular teacher who engages and inspires students in the fields of community planning and development. Over the past 2 years, Courtney has stepped forward in every opportunity, ranging from teaching in the ENV China program, where I think which she's leaving to in a couple weeks, to serving as a volunteer board member on the American Planning Association Los Angeles chapter, finishing the arduous process of earning AICP certification, and assuming the role of interim graduate coordinator for the department. Her capstone community planning studios and service learning class projects have engaged URP students with nonprofit organizations and municipal departments in Boyle Heights, Leimert Park, Montebello, Pomona, and communities in the Inland Empire. And her forthcoming book, which focuses on the history of race, planning, and placemaking in Chattanooga, Tennessee, will be published by the University of North Carolina Press. For all of these reasons, we are very honored to have Courtney Knapp here as a member of our faculty. Let's recognize Assistant Professor Courtney Knapp. The last time I ran into Courtney Knapp in downtown Los Angeles, we were walking through the Clifton's cafeteria downtown. So that's one of the places where you can find her doing urban exploration. Okay, now I'd like to call upon Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Alva, to present the candidates for the master degrees. Please join me in welcoming Provost Alva.
Thank you, Dean Wu. Well, the candidates for the Master of Architecture, the Master of Interior Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science in Regenerative Studies, and Master of Urban and Regional Planning, please rise. President Coley, I present to you the 2016 candidates for the Master of Architecture, the Master of Interior Architecture, the Master of Landscape Architecture, the Master of Science in Regenerative Studies, and the Master of Urban and Regional Planning. These candidates have completed the requirements for the master's degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the master's degree, you've heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority invested in me as president, I confer on you the degree of Master of Architecture, Master of Interior Architecture, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Science and Regenerative Studies, and Master of Urban and Regional Planning with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated until you are directed to the stage to receive your master's hood.
Now, as we proceed through the march of the graduates, each graduate will have a photo taken by the professional photographers, and each graduate who turns in a photographer's card at the reader's table will receive a proof. Ushers, please take your positions to help direct the candidates. Now, I'd like to ask the candidates for the master's degrees to please rise. Each candidate should approach the stage as directed by the ushers with your hood folded over your left arm. Stop at the reader table, proceed to the platform to receive your diploma cover and be hooded, and then recess down the center ramp and back to your seat again as directed by the ushers.
We present the candidates for the Masters of Architecture. Justin Robert Argamanes.
Alexis Calvin Epps.
Hura Kani.
Mona Kianasser.
Matthew James Donachie.
Mai Hua Vang.
Tristan Xavier Francis.
Janice Victoria.
Laida Aguirre.
Kevin Easterling.
Matthew Aspilaqueta. Emily A. Williams. Juwon Kim. Brian Christopher McCalman. And this completes the awarding the degree Master of Architecture. We now present the candidates for Master of Interior Architecture. Karen Danielle Menches.
Zara Abbasi.
Elena Sitkovetsky.
Anita Borogerdi.
Kimberly Wilborn.
Sarah Sarapur.
Mieko Saito.
Mernush Sadra.
Danielle Elizabeth Klaproth.
Mernaz Sadra.
Trisha Marie Clark.
Pauline Samat Manakit.
Brad Min.
Laura Candy Garcia.
June Poon.
Suwa Lee. Michael Lorenz. Alyssa Kumala. Christian Hinojosa. Myra Paiva. Kayla Hayun Shin.
This completes the awarding the degree Master of Interior Architecture. We now present the candidates for Master of Landscape Architecture. Sarah Yazdi. Cassandra Mina DePieri. Faye Shea. Jeremy Charles Munns. Matthew Lawrence Weil. Matthew J. Moffa. And this completes the awarding the degree Master of Landscape Architecture. And now we present the candidates for the Master of Science in Regenerative Studies. Gilberto Verdugo. Nicole Irene McLean. Kim Clymer Kelly. Elliot James Popel. Michael Gregory Anton. And this completes the awarding degree Master of Science in Regenerative Studies.
This begins the awarding of the degree Master of Urban and Regional Planning. Karina Macias. Amy Elizabeth Krymeyer. Jessica Nicole Aguilar. Wendy San. Frank Lee. David Fat Mock. Cameron Akito Palm. Adrian Daniel Salazar. Jonathan Mark Raspa. Ava Moyer. David Marcus Thompson. Vanessa Alcantar. Melissa Gooder. Karen Varela. This completes the awarding of the degree Master of Urban and Regional Planning.
Now, I'd like to ask the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Art in Art History, Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design, Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture, and Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning, please rise. President Coley, I present to you the 2016 candidates for the baccalaureate degree from the College of Environmental Design. These candidates have completed the requirements for the baccalaureate degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended for their degrees by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degree, you have heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer on you the degree of Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Art in Art History, Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design, Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture, and Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning, with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. In academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the tassel on the mortarboard on the right side. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company. In recognition of your new status, will all recipients of the baccalaureate degree move the tassel to the left? Congratulations.
To the class of 2016, I commend you for your effort and accomplishments. Please be seated until you're directed to the stage to receive your diploma cover.
We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Architecture. Allison Bradford. Anna Betsy Anaya. Myrelise Perez Hernandez.
Denise Lan-An Nugent.
Jose Alberto Rojas.
George Adam Abraham.
Lene Marie Salgado.
Rose Mendoza.
Beatriz Coronado.
Julia Lauren Melendrez.
Anna Aldrin.
Adrian Matthew Newcomb, cum laude.
Sarah Etaad, magna cum laude.
Chantal Alvarez. Sabah Sadat Salekfard. Karina Todorova Spasova.
Herman Salvador Fernandez.
Sam Nicholas Elmy. Kevin John McDonald. Juan Carlos Duarte.
Eduardo Gondara.
Aaron Cote.
Miguel Antonio Alcantar.
Michael Francis Caraglio. Hayden Moore.
Mario Alberto Gonzalez.
Benjamin Tunagold.
Lizeth Annabelle Velasquez.
Alejandra Ramirez, cum laude.
Alfonso Ortega Villafane.
Jessica Radparvar.
Kenta Kame.
Martin Garcia, Jr.
Sunitha Murthy.
Vincent D. Nguyen.
Nicole Ann Wijaya, cum laude.
Kevin James Nicholson, summa cum laude.
Sharina Rose Texon Sebastian.
Hannah Rose Miller, magna cum laude.
Neeson Kimberly Colis.
Karen Tang.
Jasmine Ann Bocalan.
Emilio Munoz.
Stephen Joel Skilbred, magna cum laude.
Carmen Alyssa Crosby.
Manuel Zermeno.
Valeria Vizcaino.
Andrew James Garl, magna cum laude.
Isabella Mattia.
Hubert Hung Nguyen.
Michael Wall.
Theodore Kuramuchi Lin.
Chelsea Lefebvre.
Fong Tran, cum laude.
Jason Marshall.
Sandra C. Lee.
Christopher Chen.
Lin H. Duong.
Christopher Hudson Chin.
Jason Law.
Lu Shu.
Nin Weiwei Yin.
Parker Aman. Kiat Main Chin.
Arega Meharabian. And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Architecture. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Art, Bachelor of Art in Art History, and Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design.
Tista Chakraborty.
Catherine Izquierdo Gallegos.
Andy Dara Fem.
Brian Cow.
Matthew Daniel Paragas.
Shay Abraham De Jesus Bonzon.
Charlene Lim Tan.
Bernadette Ann Dia.
Alexis Nicole Liu.
Diane Abigail Lutero Aquino, cum laude.
Patty Pimentel.
Mark Fernandez.
Katie Muniz.
Alan Forrest Johnson.
Kimberly Loya.
Ryan Timothy Beechler.
Monica Lopez.
Deanna Vanessa Gutierrez.
Jeanette Montes Dioca.
Aline Elizabeth Matassian.
Natalia Celine Rubio, Kellogg Honors.
Kathy Serrano.
Stephanie Ayamato.
Joshua Michael Phillips.
Adrian Kana Lee.
Tyler Scott Stewart, summa cum laude.
Monica Flores.
Kelly Rice, magna cum laude.
Leo Petrosian.
Chad Lin.
Shun Wai Ing.
Mayen Lee.
Brendan Edward Jackson.
Carmela Garcia Ocampo.
Jonathan Lackey.
Josh Landicho.
Daniela Louise Delia.
Christian Charles Gutierrez.
Christy Avalos.
Bethany Nicole Check.
Magdalena Torres.
Janae Harkey Kirk.
Adriana Christine Lewis, cum laude.
Ashley Noel Ponce Mosqueda.
Khadija Markel Reinhardt.
Alexis Amber Brewer.
Madeline Renee Karff.
Talia Zacharias.
Rachel Emily Rangel, cum laude.
Holly Ann Phelps.
Karina Marie Brorson.
Cassidy Rose Robinson.
Kelly Curler.
Matthew Robert Roldan.
Adriana Festekjian.
Justin Conrad Jimenez.
Ryan Douglas Colwick.
Sean Jean.
Miguel Saporsantos Veneracion.
Ruja Chow. Ziyang Liu. Jia Wu. Alda Maria Escobar. Frank Glenn Bevel. Leon Lamont Wells Jr. Luva Rakuta Mana Ader Giane. Evan Thomas Aiken. Maya Larson. Victor Giovanni Garcia. Daryl Norman Moore Jr. Richard Allen Holeen III. Brian Lynn. Ryan Nguyen Dang. Marina Lisa Zarate. Cynthia Varela. Catalia Marina Barriga. Kendall Michelle Ballard. Sabina Tai Chu. John M. Halili. Thomas James Hernandez. Karen Victor Kumar. Paulo Sandoval. Nicholas Anthony Rios. Jorge Hernandez. Europon Nick Kunveriak. Paris Jarris. Kathy Shea. Polly Jarris. Jason Young. Natalie Amber Verbedian. Dominic Simone Jordan. Karen Stephanie Guatemala. And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Art in Art History, and Bachelor of Fine Art in Graphic Design. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture. Corey Russell Cameron.
David Flores.
Christopher Ryan Anderson.
Michael Andrew Piccone, magna cum laude.
Seth Ashton Vanderlinden.
Nicole Tran Nguyen.
Billy Guarino.
Raymond Anthony Gonzalez, cum laude.
Sarman Abedi,
Carlos Reyes.
Jaime Nava Flores,
Kenneth Ponce.
Yuying Ring Hu,
Sean Park.
Long Win,
Chad So.
Felix Jaimes,
Alan Hu.
Ivan Francisco Velasquez,
Eduardo Berber.
Ricardo Diaz,
Zoar Ivana Cabrera. Julie Ann Pell.
Julianne Morano Pineda, cum laude,
Hilda Maria del Real Izaguirre.
Diana Marlene Alcantara Ortiz,
Melissa Suzanne Langer.
Kathleen Atienza Canta, Tori Caton Sample, magna cum laude,
Dana Bull.
Taylor Nicole Olson, magna cum laude,
Adriana Garcia.
Emilio Castillo,
Benjamin Perez.
Osvaldo Curiel,
Lauren Elise Vargas.
Edgar Hernandez,
Ernesto Altamirano.
Marco Garcia,
Amber Elise Urina.
Ivan Pineda,
Shannon Jaworski, cum laude.
Oscar Peron Jr.,
Charlene Voigt. Christian Villagran. Carlos Afonso Perez Ramirez.
and this completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture. We now present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning. Braulio Miguel Moreno. Arturo Carrasco Becerra.
Deborah Martinez.
Maria Belen Rodriguez.
Adriana Ortiz.
Olivia Lee Offit, cum laude.
Jessica Annette Mendez.
Daniel Latham, cum laude.
Juan Galvan.
Andrea Gomez.
Nancy Myth.
Travis Ray Heaps.
Aaron Nino Garcia.
Angel Anguiano.
Alphonse Nopetlian.
William Sieng.
Jesus Navidad.
Paige Marie Montojo.
Jiantu Liang, cum laude.
Robert William Rivers.
Kevin Poley.
Arturo Ontuño. Eric Saavedra.
Ivan Reyes Garay.
Christian Eduardo Espinoza. Marcus Martinez.
Joseph Raul Jamorlin.
Melissa Hutarik.
Douglas Matkins.
Jessica Shang.
Sergio Gutierrez Jr.
Brian Nukbao Tran.
Carlos Alberto Castellanos.
Cifredo Fernandez.
Jesus Guerra. Thomas Luong, magna cum laude. William Kenneth Wirtz III, summa cum laude.
And this completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Urban and Regional Planning.
Will the entire class of 2016 please rise? Audience, please join me in congratulating the College of Environmental Design class of 2016. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, before we officially adjourn this commencement ceremony, I have two announcements. When a design school has a vision of greatness, it deserves a great website. ENV needs a great website because in the 21st century, it is our website which will be our primary means of communicating with the outside world of employers, alumni, donors, environmental design professionals, and prospective applicants. But when I became your dean, the ENV website fell short. The old website was cluttered, crowded, and clumsy. It wasn't designed to showcase the visual content created by our students and faculty, and it didn't take full advantage of the interactive potential of the World Wide Web. 4 years ago, we started the process of creating a new website suitable for a design school with great aspirations. It was hard. There were a lot of ups and downs. As we sometimes tell our students, real change is never easy. But in this case, the outcome was well worth it. Members of the class of 2016, I'm proud to announce that as of this moment, the new ENV website is live on the World Wide Web. And there you see it on the screen. At least that's the home page, but the photo will continuously change. Now, the new graduates may be wondering, why is he telling us this now when we're on the way out the door? There's a simple answer to that. This leads to my second announcement. We are giving all of the new graduates 1 year of free membership in ENV Young Alumni, the new alumni network for recent ENV graduates. You'll receive special privileges and invitations to a series of young alumni mixers starting in fall 2016 at ENV appropriate locations in downtown Los Angeles and elsewhere around the region. Even better, we're going to use our new website to create an ENV map of the world with dots on an online map showing prospective applicants the exciting work of our alumni across Southern California and around the world, and enabling alumni to connect with each other. So we're grateful for a new ENV website, which will enable us to do so many things. There are many who deserve our thanks, but I specifically want to thank President Soraya Coley and her Chief of Staff, Gary Hamilton, Provost Sylvia Alva, Vice President and Chief Information Officer, John McGuthrie, and our alumna, Juliana Terrian, member of the architecture class of 1980, whose astounding generosity has changed the new ENV website from a dream to a reality. Let's give them all a big round of applause for the new ENV website. Now, we ask that members of the audience remain seated during the recessional. At the conclusion of the faculty recessional, our 2016 commencement will be officially concluded. Thank you all for joining us.